George and Mildred, the beloved British sitcom that brought laughter to living rooms from 1976 to 1979, remains a fan favorite nearly 5 decades later. The hilarious clashes between grumpy George and his ambitious wife Mildred captured hearts and made the show a comedy classic. But as 2024 rolls in, many fans are curious, what became of the talented cast who brought these iconic characters to life? From their careers beyond the screen to their personal journeys, let's take a nostalgic look at where the stars of George and Mildred are now, 48 years on. Yootha Joyce, born on August 20, 1927, was best known for her role as Mildred Roper in George and Mildred, which she portrayed from 1976 to 1979. During the filming, she was 49 years old. Mildred Roper was a strong-willed, often frustrated woman, desperately trying to improve her life while dealing with her lazy, unambitious husband, George. Yootha's career spanned several decades, though it was marked by personal difficulties. She began her career in the theater before moving to television, where her larger-than-life performances earned her fame. However, her personal life was filled with disappointment, particularly her struggles with alcoholism, which affected both her career and relationships. She had a failed marriage, and her personal life was often marred by heartache. Despite her on-screen success, Yootha's real-life battles were tragic. She passed away on August 24, 1980, at the age of 53 due to liver failure, a consequence of her ongoing alcoholism, leaving behind a legacy of remarkable performances but an equally tragic personal story. Roy Kinnear was born on January 8, 1934, and played the role of Jerry in the TV series George and Mildred from 1976 to 1979. At the time of filming, he was 42 years old. Known for his jovial and friendly personality, Jerry provided a lot of the comic relief on the show, offering a good-natured, affable presence that contrasted with some of the more eccentric characters. Roy's career was marked by both success and misfortune. He achieved prominence in British television and film, but his personal life was a struggle with periods of professional uncertainty. His marriage to actress Carmel Cryan in 1969 brought him some stability, and they had 2 children together. However, his life took a tragic turn when, in 1988, he suffered fatal complications after falling from a horse while filming a scene for The Return of the Musketeers. Roy died on September 20, 1988, at the age of 54. His untimely death left many in the industry mourning the loss of a talented and beloved actor. Norman Mitchell, born on August 27, 1918, was 58 years old when he portrayed Mr. Clayton in George and Mildred between 1976 and 1979. Mr. Clayton was a no-nonsense character, known for his practical nature and rational approach, often providing a balance to the more eccentric characters around him. Norman had a long career in British television, but like many actors of his generation, his path was not without its struggles. Although he had a number of notable roles, his personal life seemed to be one of private melancholy, with limited public details about his relationships. Norman's marriage to his wife, whose identity remains less well known, did not seem to shield him from the emotional ups and downs that often accompany the entertainment industry. By the time of his death, Norman had reached the age of 82 and passed away on March 19, 2001. His life, though marked by success, was also tinged with a sense of solitude as he faced the natural loneliness of old age and the end of his career. Gretchen Franklin, born on July 7, 1911, was 65 years old during her portrayal of Mother in George and Mildred from 1976 to 1979. Known for her nurturing and caring character, Mother often played the role of emotional support, offering wise advice and comfort to the other characters. Gretchen's career spanned several decades, during which she appeared in various roles, but it was her portrayal of Mother that truly endeared her to audiences. Despite her professional success, her personal life was filled with challenges. She was married to actor and writer John Le Mesurier, but their union was fraught with difficulties, including Le Mesurier's struggle with alcohol, which contributed to a tumultuous relationship. The couple eventually separated, and their divorce added to the emotional toll that Gretchen faced in her later years. Though she remained active in her work, Gretchen's personal life was often marred by loss and heartache. She lived to the age of 94, passing away on July 11, 2005, after a long and fulfilling career. Harry Littlewood, born on May 23, 1921, played Frank in George and Mildred, 1976 to 1979, a dependable and hardworking friend who was always there to help. At 55 years old during the filming, Littlewood's portrayal of Frank captured the essence of reliability and loyalty. However, Littlewood's personal life was fraught with struggles. His career, while steady, was often overshadowed by his turbulent personal life, including several failed marriages and the pain of not having children. He experienced periods of isolation as he aged, with a deep sense of regret for the unfulfilled potential in his personal and professional life. While his acting career remained a consistent part of his identity, it never truly reached the heights he might have hoped for. Littlewood passed away on December 26, 2003, at the age of 82, after a long period of health issues, ending a life that was a mixture of fleeting fame and enduring personal hardship. Robert Raglin, born on April 7, 1909, was 69 years old during the filming of George and Mildred, 1976 to 1979, where he played the stern and authoritative Brown. His commanding presence and rich voice made him a respected figure on screen, but off-screen, Raglin's life was filled with personal and professional hardships. Despite a long career in film and television, his later years were marked by dwindling roles and financial instability. His marriage ended in divorce, and he never remarried, experiencing loneliness as he grew older. Raglin struggled with depression and a lack of fulfillment in his later years, especially as his career slowed. His inability to secure prominent roles in his later years weighed heavily on him, and he faced significant emotional and financial difficulties. Raglin passed away on July 18, 1985, at the age of 76, after suffering from various health complications, leaving behind a legacy of strong performances but a life tinged with personal sorrow and unfulfilled aspirations. Trevor Baxter, born on November 18, 1932, was a British actor who portrayed the minor but memorable role of Oxfam Man in George and Mildred, 1976 to 1979. His character stood for the socially conscious side of the community, adding a touch of moral clarity amidst the humorous chaos. During the filming, Baxter was 44 years old. He began his acting career in the 1950s, often appearing in television and theater, but his role as Oxfam Man remains one of his more recognizable TV appearances. Although he enjoyed a solid career, Baxter faced significant personal struggles, particularly in his later years. His first marriage ended in divorce after several years, leaving him devastated and affecting his later career. Despite this, he continued to work in television and film. He remarried, but his personal life was marked by emotional turbulence. Sadly, he passed away on July 16, 2017, at the age of 84, after living a somewhat solitary life following his retirement from acting. Robert Gillespie, born on November 9, 1933, played Detective Sergeant Burke in George and Mildred, 1976 to 1979. His character was a diligent and methodical police officer, always in pursuit of solving the mysteries that came his way, providing a steady presence in the comedic chaos of the series. At the time of filming, Gillespie was 43 years old and had already established himself as a prominent figure in British television. Gillespie's career trajectory, however, was marred by ups and downs. While he was highly regarded for his performances, personal life struggles weighed heavily on him. His first marriage was turbulent, resulting in an acrimonious divorce, and though he remarried later in life, that relationship also faced challenges. He has 2 children, but his family life was often overshadowed by his demanding career and the toll it took on his mental health. Despite his professional success, Gillespie's life was not without pain, dealing with bouts of depression and personal loss. Now 91 years old, Gillespie remains a figure of nostalgia in British TV, though he keeps a low profile and stays largely out of the public eye. Anthony Sharp, born on June 16, 1915, is best known for his role as the headmaster in George and Mildred, 1976 to 1979. Portraying a strict and authoritative figure, Sharp's character was a symbol of the old-school educational values, making a notable impression in the series. At 61 years old during filming, Sharp had already built a career spanning several decades in British theatre and television. His personal life, however, was far from smooth. Sharp experienced numerous setbacks in his career, struggling with typecasting and failing to land roles that would elevate his status in the industry. On the personal front, Sharp was married twice, but his relationships were not without turmoil. His second marriage ended in divorce, and he found little solace in his family life. He had one daughter, but their bond was reportedly strained. Sharp's later years were marked by poor health and a dwindling career. He passed away on July 23, 1984, at the age of 69, leaving behind a legacy of his memorable performances, but also the sadness of unfulfilled potential. Derek Deadman, born on March 11, 1940, was a well-known English actor famous for his role as the cab driver in George and Mildred, 1976 to 1979. When filming, Derek was just 37 years old, brimming with youthful energy and charm that made his character approachable and likable. Although Derek was known for his friendly, talkative nature on screen, his personal life was far more tumultuous. Derek married, but his relationships were often complicated, and he eventually experienced a divorce that left him struggling with loneliness. While he remained a constant presence in British television, his career never reached the heights that many had expected, and he spent years battling health issues, including complications from diabetes. His passing on November 22, 2014, at the age of 74, after his health had deteriorated, marked the end of an era for fans who cherished his unique energy on screen. Jeremy Bullock, born on February 16, 1945, was an English actor who gained recognition for his role as Bill Albright in George and Mildred, 1976 to 1979. At the age of 33 during filming, Jeremy portrayed Bill, a charismatic and charming character who was always the center of attention at social gatherings. Despite his success in the role, Jeremy's life was marked by personal struggles. Though he married and had children, his relationships were often strained, and his family life was complicated by the pressures of his acting career. Jeremy's struggles with balancing work and personal life led to periods of introspection and regret. Later in life, he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, which profoundly affected his health. Despite his battle with the disease, Jeremy remained active in the public eye until his passing on December 17, 2020, at the age of 75. His death, due to complications from Parkinson's, was a great loss to his fans, who remembered him for his warmth and remarkable screen presence. Reg Li, born on October 13, 1912, played the role of the father in George and Mildred from 1976 to 1979, at the age of 65. His character was a wise and nurturing figure, often offering advice and support to those around him. Reg had a long career in film and television, with his calm and fatherly demeanor making him a perfect fit for the role. However, his personal life was not as tranquil. Reg experienced financial difficulties and was forced to deal with several failed relationships. Despite his success on screen, his off-screen life was marked by periods of loneliness and isolation. He had a brief marriage that ended in divorce and no children. Reg's career had its ups and downs, with many roles and supporting characters, but it wasn't until later in his life that he achieved more recognition with George and Mildred. He passed away on March 23, 1987, at the age of 74, from complications of old age. Lionel Moran, born on June 2, 1915, portrayed Lee Kennedy in George and Mildred during its run from 1976 to 1979. At the time, Lionel was 63 years old. Lee was a sophisticated, well-spoken character who often took on the role of mentor or advisor to younger characters, reflecting Lionel's own professional persona. Throughout his career, Lionel played a variety of roles that showcased his refined manner and sense of authority. However, his life off-screen was a much darker story. Lionel faced the pain of several failed marriages, including one that left him deeply affected emotionally. His personal relationships were often marked by tension and heartbreak. Though he had children, the strain of his failed marriages left him somewhat estranged from his family. Despite these hardships, Lionel found some happiness in later years, living comfortably with a stable career. He died on September 26, 2006, at the age of 91, after living a long, relatively quiet life in retirement. Patsy Rollins, born on January 19, 1931, played the role of Barrow in George and Mildred from 1976 to 1979. At the time of filming, she was 48 years old. Barrow was a lively, humorous character, known for her sharp wit and ability to bring joy to those around her. Patsy's career was marked by a variety of comedic roles, with her distinctive style of humor making her a favorite on British television. However, her life behind the scenes was far less cheerful. Patsy had to endure a series of personal struggles, including a troubled marriage and the heartbreak of losing loved ones. She was married twice and had children, but her relationships were often fraught with challenges. The most significant tragedy in Patsy's life was her battle with breast cancer, which she fought for several years. Despite her health struggles, Patsy remained a beloved figure in the entertainment industry. She passed away on January 22, 2005, just 3 days after her 74th birthday, due to complications from breast cancer. Peter Burrows was born on July 19, 1935, and portrayed Charlie Roper in George and Mildred from 1976 to 1979. At the time of filming, he was 43 years old. Charlie, George's brother, was depicted as the more successful and confident sibling, often creating tension between the two. Throughout his career, Peter found success in both television and film, with his portrayal of Charlie being one of his most notable roles. However, his personal life was marked by struggles, particularly within his family. He was married to actress Anna Kirk, but their relationship was plagued by difficulties. They had 2 children, but the marriage ended in a bitter divorce. Peter faced a series of personal and professional setbacks, and his health deteriorated in later years. Sadly, he passed away on June 23, 2004, at the age of 68, after a battle with cancer. His death marked the end of a career filled with both triumphs and personal heartache, leaving behind a legacy of memorable performances. Michael Ripper, born on January 27, 1913, was 63 years old when he played the role of Uncle Fred in George and Mildred between 1976 and 1979. Michael's portrayal of Uncle Fred was that of a warm, jovial, and kind-hearted character, often offering advice and sharing stories. Michael's career, which spanned decades, saw him take on many roles in both television and film, with a particular focus on British horror films. While his professional life was steady, his personal life was more tumultuous. He was married to his wife, and they had children, but his relationship suffered due to his lengthy absences for work and the strain of his career in the demanding film industry. Throughout his life, Michael was known to struggle with bouts of depression and isolation. His later years were marked by financial difficulties, and his health declined. Michael Ripper died on June 28, 2000, at the age of 87, having lived through the highs and lows of a long and often challenging career. Tony Melody, born on December 18, 1922, portrayed Ernest Groves in George and Mildred, 1976 to 1979, at the age of 55. His character was steady, reliable, and calm, providing a sense of grounding amidst the chaos of the show. In real life, however, Tony Melody's path was much more tumultuous. Despite his professional success, his personal life was marked by deep struggles. He married young, but his marriage was marred by infidelity and financial troubles, leading to a bitter divorce. Melody faced difficulty in finding consistent work after George and Mildred, with many roles drying up due to his age and the changing nature of the television industry. His dreams of a happy family never materialized, as he had no children. Later in life, Melody became isolated, suffering from depression and poor health, which exacerbated his sense of loneliness. He passed away on June 26, 2008, at the age of 85, after enduring years of health complications, leaving behind a career that had seen both steady work and missed opportunities. Michael Robbins, born on November 14, 1930, played the humorous and sarcastic Alf in George and Mildred, 1976 to 1979, bringing wit and charm to the show at the age of 48. Alf's playful banter and quick remarks made him a beloved character, yet Robbins' own life was far less lighthearted. Behind the scenes, Robbins struggled with the pressures of fame and the toll it took on his personal life. He had a marriage that fell apart under the weight of his own emotional struggles, compounded by his inability to cope with the pressures of his career. His health deteriorated over time, and he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, a disease that would ultimately claim his life. Robbins' career, though significant in television, never quite reached the heights he had hoped for, leaving him feeling unfulfilled in his later years. He passed away on December 11, 1992, at the age of 62, after a battle with cancer, marking a tragic end to a life full of personal and professional challenges. Roy Barraclough, born on July 12, 1935, was 42 years old when he played Henry in George and Mildred, 1976 to 1979. Henry was a charming and sociable character who could effortlessly make friends, but Barraclough's own life was not always so smooth. His early career was filled with promise, but he faced several setbacks as the years went by. Barraclough's personal life was fraught with challenges, particularly his relationships, which were marked by emotional turmoil. He married twice, but both marriages ended in divorce, and he had no children, which was a source of personal sorrow for him. Throughout his life, Barraclough struggled with self-doubt and the inability to find true happiness in his relationships, leading to periods of deep sadness. Despite his career in television, he always felt like something was missing. He passed away on June 1, 2017, at the age of 81, having battled with health issues in his later years. His death marked the end of a long career in the entertainment industry, but it was also a reminder of the personal challenges that continued to affect him throughout his life. Margie Lawrence, born on January 21, 1932, played the role of Ada in George and Mildred, 1976 to 1979, portraying a warm and caring character who was often a pillar of support for others. During the filming of the show, Lawrence was 46 years old. She had a varied career, but her personal life was fraught with struggles. Lawrence, who began her acting career in the 1950s, faced many difficulties in her early years. She often found herself in roles that were either overshadowed by bigger names or left on the periphery of the industry's spotlight. Her love life was no easier. She was married twice, with both marriages ending in bitter divorces. She had 2 children, a son and a daughter, but her relationships with them were strained due to her emotional turmoil. After her second marriage ended, Lawrence withdrew from the public eye, finding solace in her later years only through a close-knit group of friends. In the last decade of her life, she battled ovarian cancer, a struggle that she kept private. She passed away on June 16, 2010, at the age of 78. Alistair Williamson, born on June 17, 1918, played the role of Breaker's man in George and Mildred, 1976 to 1979, a tough and resilient character who faced life's challenges with determination. At 58 years old during filming, Williamson was already an experienced actor with decades of work behind him. Despite his successful career, his personal life was less fulfilling. Williamson's early life was marked by poverty, and he had to fight for every opportunity. His career had its ups and downs, often struggling with limited roles in film and television, but he was able to establish a strong presence on screen through his various roles. However, his love life was fraught with difficulty. He was married twice, with both relationships marked by infidelity and heartbreak. He had 3 children, but his relationship with them was difficult due to the strains of his personal life. Williamson also battled depression throughout his life, and his final years were spent in relative seclusion. He passed away on May 19, 1999, at the age of 80. Leslie Staples, born on December 5, 1956, was just 21 years old when she portrayed Mrs. Williams in George and Mildred, 1976 to 1979. Her character was a kind-hearted, nurturing woman who was always ready to help others, and Leslie's portrayal of Mrs. Williams left a lasting impression on viewers. However, Leslie's personal life took a darker turn. While she initially appeared to have a promising career, her early success was overshadowed by a series of personal tragedies. Leslie faced a tumultuous relationship that ended in divorce, and her attempts at love were often met with disappointment. She never remarried and struggled with loneliness, which took a toll on her mental and emotional health. In her later years, she also battled financial difficulties. Despite her struggles, Leslie remains a strong figure, continuing to inspire others with her resilience. At 68 years old, she is still alive today, living quietly away from the limelight. Paul Meyer, born on February 17, 1947, was 31 years old when he appeared in George and Mildred, 1976 to 1979, as the character Dr. Known for his portrayal of professional and dedicated characters, Paul's career in television often saw him cast as skilled and committed individuals in various medical or authoritative roles. However, despite his early success, Paul's personal life was marked by significant struggles. His relationships were tumultuous, and his marriage ended in divorce, which left him emotionally drained. Over time, he also faced health issues that impacted both his personal and professional life. His career, though steady, never reached the heights he had hoped for, and he found himself often taking on smaller roles in later years. At 77 years old, Paul continues to work in the industry, finding fulfillment in mentoring younger actors and helping others navigate personal challenges, though he remains relatively private. Ewan Roberts, born on April 29, 1914, was 65 years old when he appeared as Mr. MacDonald in George and Mildred, 1976 to 1979. His character was one of wisdom and experience, often offering advice and guidance to those around him. Ewan's career had seen its peaks and valleys, and though he was a respected actor, his personal life was filled with hardships. Throughout his life, he battled health issues, including severe depression, which affected his work and relationships. He married twice, but both marriages ended in divorce, and he struggled to maintain a stable family life. Ewan's career also faced stagnation in his later years, with fewer roles coming his way as he grew older. His final years were marked by a series of health crises, leading to his death on January 10, 1983, at the age of 68, from complications related to his declining health. Despite his career successes, Ewan's life was ultimately a tragic one, filled with both professional and personal challenges. Brian Murphy, born on September 25, 1932, is best known for his portrayal of George Roper in George and Mildred, which aired from 1976 to 1979. At the time, Brian was 44 years old. His character, George, was a lazy, easygoing man who preferred to avoid work and live a simple life, which contrasted sharply with his ambitious wife, Mildred. Brian's career was built on roles that often portrayed him as a likable everyman, and his performance as George Roper made him a household name. However, like many actors, his career had its ups and downs, and after George and Mildred, he faced periods of limited success. Despite this, Brian remained a stable figure in the entertainment industry. In his personal life, Brian found greater contentment, maintaining a long-lasting marriage and raising 2 children. Though his career has slowed in recent years, Brian, now 92 years old, still enjoys the fond memories of his time on the series and has largely stayed out of the public spotlight in recent years, leading a quiet, fulfilling life with his family. Norman Eshley, born on May 30, 1945, played the role of Geoffrey Formille, the snobbish, self-assured neighbor of the Ropers in George and Mildred between 1976 and 1979. At the time, Norman was in his early 30s. Geoffrey Formeel was an affluent estate agent who often looked down on George and Mildred, believing himself to be socially superior, but his arrogance was often undercut by George's cleverness. Norman's portrayal of this character brought him recognition, though his career was characterized by periods of both success and struggle. Despite being typecast in similar roles after George and Mildred, Norman had difficulty finding parts that matched his previous acclaim. His personal life was similarly rocky, with failed relationships and the challenges of balancing fame with family. Norman was married twice and has children, though his relationships were not without complications. At 79 years old, Norman enjoys a quieter, more private life, content with his career achievements while having largely retreated from the public eye. He continues to enjoy his retirement, cherishing his family and the legacy of his work. John Lyons, born on September 14, 1943, portrayed the jovial and approachable barman in George and Mildred, 1976 to 1979, at the age of 33. His character brought warmth to the series with his charming and sociable nature, which was in stark contrast to the challenges he faced off-screen. While his role as the barman was one of the highlights of his career, Lyons faced many struggles in his personal life. His acting career experienced a series of ups and downs, and while he was a familiar face on television, his roles post-George and Mildred were less prominent. His marriage, too, suffered, leading to a difficult divorce, and he struggled with the fact that he had no children, a longing that remained unfulfilled throughout his life. Despite these challenges, Lyons maintained a relatively quiet life, distancing himself from the public eye in his later years. Now 81 years old, he continues to live in relative peace, though the echoes of his past struggles still remain a part of his story. James Cosmo was born on May 24, 1948, and played the role of Keith in George and Mildred from 1976 to 1979. At the time of filming, he was 29 years old. Keith, a hard-working and no-nonsense character, was often seen dealing with the practical side of life. James' career in acting has been long and diverse, with notable roles in both television and film. Despite the successes of his career, James faced personal difficulties, especially in his early life. Raised in a working-class family, he struggled with financial insecurity and the pressures of making a name for himself in the entertainment industry. James' personal life also saw struggles, particularly with his relationships. He was married twice, but both unions ended in divorce, and he had children from each marriage. In recent years, James has been more open about the challenges of balancing a busy career with family life. Now at 76 years old, James continues to act and remains an enduring figure in British entertainment, though his life has been far from without its challenges. Tim Barrett, born on May 31, 1929, portrayed the Doctor in George and Mildred, 1976 to 1979, a compassionate and knowledgeable figure always ready to help others with his medical expertise. Barrett was 49 years old during the filming of the show, but his career had been a long and rocky journey. Early on, Barrett struggled to secure leading roles, often relegated to supporting parts in both television and theater. He was married twice, with both marriages facing their own set of challenges. His first wife, a fellow actress, left him after a decade, claiming that Barrett's professional obsession created an emotional distance between them. He had one child, a son, but their relationship was also strained, as Barrett's dedication to his career often kept him away from home. Despite professional highs, including his role on George and Mildred, Barrett's later years were marked by health problems and a sense of isolation. His second marriage ended in separation, and his declining health led to his early death on August 20, 1990, at the age of 61. Who's your favorite character from George and Mildred? How do you feel knowing that some of the actors have passed away? Don't hesitate to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this content, please remember to like, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you won't miss